Welcome to the new IT. The new IT, we're talking about the future of IT again today. What's going on today? What are we doing today? Brad, what's happening on the show?
Today is actually a really good episode. We actually have two guests with us today.
We have guests. It's not just you and me bantering back and forth today. Oh, good.
Believe it or not, we're actually growing. So we have Kerrie and Joaquin from R2I Integrated.
Awesome. Cool. Should we have them introduce themselves?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the
better
correct
than us, right?
Absolutely. So, welcome, Joaquin and Kerrie. Welcome to the show. We would just like to kind of get to know them first, right?
Absolutely.
Kind of know who you are. So, you guys just take turns and introduce yourselves to the audience, and then we'll start bashing the hard questions at you. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
Great response.
Yeah, very good. Don't just calm down. It's okay. It's all good. So go ahead. You guys just tell us about yourself a little bit.
I can go first. Kerrie Davis. I'm the Director of Data and Analytics at R2 Integrated. R2 Integrated is a digital marketing and technology company. So we build websites as well as connect your tech stacks, as well as strategizing and executing on customer journey campaigns. So that can range from strategy, media, organic, experience design, personalization, analytics, marketing automation as well. I've been at R2 Integrated and we also call it R2I. You'll probably hear that R2I for short. I've been at R2I for 7 years and been in the data and analytics world for about 15 years. So primarily working anywhere from web analytics, business intelligence, advanced analytics, user journey connectivity, working with data engineering, data scientists, and that really from a B2B perspective more so. From previous positions that I've been in, anywhere from actually being client side for running campaigns with marketing, also being able to strategize and be able to show performance for that. And then now, leading a team and working with clients on analytics strategies, as well as web analytics implementations and reporting, anywhere from web analytics reporting to BI reporting to advanced analytics reporting, and also data connectivity and customer journey connectivity as well. Some of the clients that we work on, Johns Hopkins University, Hershey's, Purdue, just for some examples.
I've heard of them.
Say again?
I've heard of them, yeah.
Okay, good. And, we span from healthcare, higher ed, manufacturing, B2B high tech, financial and professional services.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Great. So my name is Joaquin. I'm actually the Director of Personalization here at R2I. My background as far as getting into the analytics and optimization space started at Adobe. I started off as a corporate trainer with them, teaching how to use best practices and how to use all the different products. And then kind of took that into different levels, into tag management, which I worked at a company for a year. And I was all on the vendor side, kind of realized, and we'll kind of talk about this a little bit as we get further, but realized in my career that I hadn't really been on the client side. And so I knew that was going to be the best way to round myself out. So went to work for several different companies like Sephora and Kroger and Royal Caribbean, and kind of leading teams, building out the analytics and optimization practice that kind of led into more personalization, A/B testing, and then kind of brought that here. I met Kerrie. We had some conversations, and it was the right move for me to come join the team and help build out things here. So that's me.
Awesome.
That
is incredible.
Yeah. Oh, wow. It's cool to have some real experts here on the show.
Absolutely.
Not that we're not real experts, Brad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying... Okay, I'm kind of saying that.
From the analytics piece, absolutely.
Yes,
I'm confused.
That's the whole point of the show today. We're going to be talking about analytics and the importance and all that. Yeah. So I would like to start off with that question. What is this analytics thing?
I think actually it's funny, too, that Joaquin and I met on the Measure Slack workspace. So, really that had more of the tie to analytics than anything, right? Really from analytics, I think it really hones in on you can't manage what you can't measure. And analytics is a loaded word, right? Because it can mean so many different things. And we'll probably talk about it more in the realm of digital marketing now, digital marketing and digital sales, but we'll try and make it a little bit more agnostic, but that's kind of been a little bit more of our background. But really, if you want to use it in more of a higher level sense, how are you using data to answer business questions, understanding relationships, and really being able to predict outcomes? That's how I like to use it at a high level. And then really when we talk about analytics, more specific about website analytics, so user behavior, how are they getting to a website or app? What are they doing on that site? How can we improve to have the user journey and have the users do what we want them to do. And then also, analytics can dive into, multi-channel, which means, from a user journey, as we know, there's multiple touch points where there's different sources of marketing channels and marketing campaigns as they're touching a user to be able to get them to ultimately do what a company wants them to do. So that kind of moves into multi-channel as well as business intelligence. So really kind of pulling all of that different data from different sources together to kind of get a better picture of a customer journey. So those are really kind of the what's happening now, what happened in the past, and then, another facet of analytics kind of looking at the future phasing of advanced analytics, that predictive analytics, and being able to do modeling to do some more forecasting and do more foresight.
So
that's kind of how I view it.
I have to ask this: in the world of analytics, where would you say its importance is in the tech in the world in the tech space?
Yeah. Right.
Where is it as important? I mean, is it, we talk about security, database, all of these different things. Where would you say is the percentage of importance of analytics? And we're talking, as jobs and all this stuff, it's the whole point. So
isn't it 100%? Because you have us on this call.
I would think so, personally.
Right, exactly.
No, I'll let Kerrie take that one from a serious standpoint, though.
Yeah, and I'll let Joaquin interject too. So, from tech and even outside of tech, every job, right, should be data driven. You're not going to go to your boss without having any type of data to come up with recommendations. And also, you need to be able to correlate your value, right? So you better correlate what your KPIs or what your metrics or what your value metrics are, whether that's qualitative or quantitative, to be able to show your performance of your own job, right? So it kind of goes outside of IT. It really goes everywhere. You can't manage what you can't measure. That's definitely, it's a very simplistic saying, but it really goes a long way. So those are really, I think from any job, you need to be able to be analytically savvy, and really data is what you are analyzing in analytics. So therefore, any job you should be able to know what's your value that you're bringing, and a lot of that is analyzing, what are you doing from your job to be able to perform better.
Got it. So, let me ask you this then. It sounds like it's very, very intuitive, but how does somebody even get into analytics? What is the career path for somebody who wants to get started with analytics?
I can start too, and Joaquin, please feel free to interject. I think what's great now is a lot of colleges and universities are including a lot of this in marketing courses. So I'm seeing a lot more from people in coursework where they're marketing, they're getting exposed to web analytics, they're getting exposed to free tools that you can provide automated reports, so that they are starting to get acclimated from that sense. Some are even getting certified in one of the web analytics tools called Google Analytics before they even are after a degree. So that's really great to be able to see. And, really with every job, especially in digital marketing, you do need to be able to understand performance and how your individual silo or campaigns are performing. And also, you need to be able to come up with what campaigns you're going to be running. So there is some data that's involved there. So I think it happens organically where it's in a lot of positions, especially in IT, as well as in digital marketing space. And then from there, I was really lucky and kind of just fell into it and I started really from a web analytics perspective. I started when, gosh, it was way before Adobe Analytics. It was called Omniture, and before Omniture, it was called Hitbox. And so I started at a company that we were using Hitbox, and then we migrated over to Omniture, and we really didn't have anyone that stepped up to really understand what that was and how to use it. So that was something that I kind of fell into. And then from there, web analytics is really helpful because you're understanding website user activity, but then there's a whole precursor of how users are getting to your site. And that's where I think whether you're in that silo of getting advertising for people to move to a website, or if you're in marketing automation, you need to be able to understand how to get users to the site. So that's something that people kind of migrate to because they're constantly looking at performance and analysis, and they're looking at data. And also it's nice that, when you're in analytics and you're very data driven, you can kind of move into other positions as well with that. And I don't know, Joaquin, if you...
Yeah, kind of going on that, I think that's a really good point there as far as how you could transition. I think for whenever I talk to someone about, hey, do you want to be in a career of analytics? And actually my daughter's going to school for that right now, but
awesome.
Kind of side note, it's just really, if you love numbers, you're an analytical brain, you like to look at things and figure things out, and you get those aha and you get excited about those kind of things. This is a really good place to be. And then you get to take it to another level. So let's say that you start off just analyzing, and then maybe you lead a team. Maybe you don't want to manage. Maybe you don't want to manage a team. Maybe you want to go more into, you've always liked being a developer, and so you want to develop in analytics, or maybe you want to take it to another level where you start getting into, A/B testing, personalization, or if you want to, it really just bridges a lot of those gaps, because then you understand the numbers, and anywhere you can understand the numbers and look at something and say, this might mean this, or it might mean these three things, and direct it towards that, you're eliminating a lot of that time of that guesswork. And I think that's kind of what a career analytics can be, is that you can even take it to the CEO or CTO level if that's where you want to go. So
yeah, no, I agree with that. And I think, it is two components, right? The data and the analysis, where people can progress or move from one to the other. When you're looking at analysis, it's ultimately you're looking at data, right? And a lot of times you have to connect different data points. So a lot of career progression from starting out more from web analytics or a silo of analytics, whether that's, any type of IT data, you're moving more into how is that data being connected, which kind of opens you up then to a data engineering world, a data scientist world, making sure that your data is ready for analysis, or if you're wanting to be able to model that data or be able to use it in, data blending, data unification, and pushing and pulling it into other tech stacks or other platforms.
Yeah, I'm curious. So in the early days of technology, big data was kind of this magical thing, right? It was magic. And only the biggest of the biggest companies even understood a little bit of that magic. But now, if you're not doing analytics, you will not succeed. You will not understand if your company's moving forward, if it's doing right or wrong. Even the small companies now have to be there. So why should companies care about analytics? I kind of opened the door, obviously, but this is the new IT, and we believe that times are changing, and it's only getting more. Wouldn't you say that analytics is more powerful, more important than it ever has been, and it's not going away?
Well, and I think in that point too, I think it's the modern day Don Draper. It's your ad agency. From a web analytics standpoint, it sounds like that's where it's going.
Yeah. So what do you guys think? Why should companies care, and what should they do about it?
Well, so kind of as we were talking about it, is what Kerrie was talking about is analytics is just every piece of the puzzle, right? And so a lot of times we're going into these guessing games. So people have said, they come in, they go, well, I think that we should do this. And another person says, well, I think we should do this. And
let's throw this at the wall and see what happens.
And you spend hours and weeks doing that instead of saying, well, why don't we look at the data? Or as we'll talk about in like my world is, why don't we run a test, an A/B test, or personalize and find out what is what is actually going on. And then that kind of eliminates that. And you can have a fun game with it if you want. Everybody can put like a chocolate bar in the middle and say whoever's right gets all the chocolate bars, you know? So, but you eliminate all that extra time of just having to, instead of having to guess a game, actually.
I want to work on your team, just so you know. You've got me with chocolate, man.
Right?
Nice.
Yes.
Right.
It's dark chocolate, right, though?
Of course.
Oh, very
right,
good.
look at that.
Very good. Awesome.
And two, there's so much more data available, and there's a lot of tools out there that are free that there really isn't any excuse to not. And also, again, always going back to every position and being able to see how are you correlating back to business questions, back to organizational goals, and just using deductive reasoning to know, okay, what are the key performance indicators or value that I bring, and how am I tracking to those goals? And it doesn't have to be quantitative, it can be qualitative, right? You know, we think a lot of this in data as being, you know, numbers, which, you know, a lot of it is, but a lot of this should be also qualitative as well. But yes, we get a lot of, and in my, you know, career, from cross teams, and also, you know, what you do hear from clients, a lot of emotion or just thoughts, as opposed to kind of looking at the data to be able to discern what to do next, for sure.
That's really interesting. So, I mean, I don't know if you guys get asked this question a lot, but I guess I'm kind of confused. What's the difference between a data engineer and a data scientist? I mean, do you guys get that confusion? There
is some interconnectivity to it, you know, as a lot of times, you know, we get through and a lot of people could think that there's defined roles and responsibilities, but there definitely is some interconnectivity there. So, you know, and this is from my experience, more from the analytics realm, from like BI reporting and advanced analytics, more towards, you know, digital marketing. But really, from a data engineer, that's making sure to get the data collected and ready for blending and analysis. And a lot of that can be helping with the database and using certain coding to be able to do so. That data scientist is really going to be looking more at the modeling, analyzing, testing, aggregating, also optimizing that data to present it. But what I do find that kind of mixes, and also an analyst also has to do, is really, you know, you need to make sure that your data is ready to be analyzed in whatever capacity, right? If that's ready for data unification, if that's ready to get it in a database, if that's ready to make sure that it can be modeled. And that's where an analyst and a data scientist do have to take on some of that data engineering role. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That does.
Intertwined.
Yep. Okay.
And a lot of these tools now, even free tools, they have a lot of different modeling. So, you know, while I might have to, you know, dust off my, you know, master's and undergrad in statistics to do some like R modeling, a lot of these tools do that for you for free, and they are coming up with the best modeling techniques. So, you know, you can think of yourself as a mini data scientist, even in leveraging a lot of these tools with some of the modeling that they put together for you.
Wow, I have no idea.
Wow. So let's say, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, and one thing I'll add to it is I do think the reason it's kind of difficult to answer this these days is I have an idea of what I think a data scientist should be, right, and an idea of what a data engineer should be, and what a data analyst and so on and so forth should be. But it's kind of gotten muddy. There's been a lot of companies say, go get a data scientist.
Right.
And so people are just stamping this title on people, and then it's not necessarily what, you know, like as Kerrie said, more of that modeling, you know, putting something together that can run all these different things together and outputting something that we can then use to make a decision in the company. So I think that's part of the hard part on that. But so I think it's naturally it's going to correct itself, and there will be more of a definition on that. So
yeah.
Got it. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that kind of ties into the next question.
Yeah.
But, I mean, what are companies looking for? What should they be looking for in a data scientist or a data engineer?
I think a lot of the foundations. So one, a lot from an IT perspective, right? You're going to need to make sure that they understand databases. They're going to need to understand certain coding languages. You know, having that background in statistics is, you know, definitely a plus. But a lot of the hands-on experience of getting data ready, the 80/20 rule absolutely applies for a data scientist. You need to make sure that your data is ready and in a format that you need to in order to model, test, analyze it. So a lot of the competencies to make sure that data is ready and can be unified and blended within the database in order to be able to model that. And also too, we're mixing a lot, and I think technology is really seeing this where, there's a lot of interpersonal communication and skills and more client facing, really not so much of hiding behind a computer now, right? It's a lot of interfacing with people and being able to do a lot of different types of presentations, hands-on workshops. So really, a data scientist needs to be able to have a lot of the technical background and also be able to speak about technical concepts in non-technical ways, because a lot of your stakeholders are going to be more of those end users where they don't understand regression analysis, right? They don't know the different models that you're using. They also don't care. They just want to know what the end goal is and what's the best, X to provide Y. So it's really a very unique skill set to find.
Yeah, we've talked about that many times, that being able to communicate on a non-technical level is a very important skill, especially in the new IT. Because in the new world, people that didn't used to be in the technology now are at least they have a say in it and an understanding. And if you talk up here, you've lost them, and then you've lost everything.
Agreed.
So that's such a good point. So what is R2I actually doing to attract talent? What do you guys do something specific to get talented analytic folks into the company? What are you guys doing?
So I'll let Joaquin jump in. Right now, it's no secret that attracting talent right now
it's hard.
is very difficult. We all know, from inflation, also from low supply, high demand, high salaries. So it's, high salaries are great, but what also comes with that, that can be, very laborious working hours. You better be able to show your value right away, right?
High stress.
That CFO is looking at your salary and they want to know what you're providing. So, what I really like about R2I, and, this is an agency, and a lot of people feel that agencies churn and burn people. I've been here 7 years. An average person at R2I has been here 5 years, which actually at 5 years we get a bobblehead figurine of ourselves. So the average person
that's way cool.
For tenure gets a bobblehead of themselves. I'm actually mine's in transit now. I wish I had it so I could show my bobblehead that I have. But R2I really focuses a lot on like that work life. So we work on multiple clients, but our goals for how many hours a week are you devoted to clients versus how many hours a week you are able to have to work on yourself, self-investment. How are you improving yourself? How are you improving your department? How are you improving your company is something that I really appreciate and I really enjoy. This isn't a work to the bone 80 hours a week constantly that you hear in a marketing agency. So they really focus on work-life balance. Even more recently, we're a remote workforce with an office presence, which is something that is really helpful if people, depending on your geo, would like to go into the headquarters office in Baltimore. That's something that they can do. If not, being remote is really great. It's something that we still are able to communicate and feel like we're part of a team, not so siloed, but also you get the comforts of being remote. We've added, an unlimited PTO policy. We have summer Fridays where the office closes at 2. They've added more paid holidays as well. They've also updated, even just sick leave, mental health leave, right? and extended to a parental leave policy, not just maternity leave. So they are really looking at this from all angles, and I think learned a lot, from COVID, of what do people care about, and money does drive a lot of people, and that's great. And right now, if you're in IT and you want to get a new job, well, good for you, because you'll be seeing dollar signs. But it kind of,
there's a lot of stress involved with that,
yes,
though.
For sure. And it just depends on what are your goals, and what are you looking for. And I enjoy that, and I appreciate that they're making it again more of that work-life balance. But again, I've been here 7 years. Would love to hear what Joaquin has to say, since he's been, his tenure's not as long as mine.
Yeah, so agree with a lot of that. I think the work-life balance is very strong. I think that kind of adding to that, I think my piece is that I like to tell people is we do hire great talent. So we hire people that are really good at what they do. So you come in here with us, you're going to have, just speaking for myself, I have a very large network in this industry. So even if you came and worked with me for a year and you were like, this isn't really for me, I'd like to do something different, I have no problem just opening up the network and say, hey, go ahead and talk to so-and-so. I know I've seen some jobs there. And I think that's a big part. And I think there's a lot of people on that team where you can learn a lot of different things. And that's the other part too. And working with us is, we're obviously not outright. We wouldn't want you to do it if you came to work on analytics and target, but if all of a sudden you wanted to get into the AEM space, we have a lot of people that are really good at that. You can start to move over to that. And so I think that's the other part. It's just, It's the people that we're working with, a lot of smart, good people, hard workers. And we have fun, as much as we can, not being able to knock on the cubicle next to it, but, right. Digitally, we have some good times. So
I love that.
That's a good point too. Yeah, that there's been a big focus on being able to move, within different departments based on what you're interested in. The nice thing about being with IT and in technology is you're typically working with a tech stack, but that includes a lot of different types of technologies. You need to be able to understand them at a high level in your current job. And if you are interested in taking and making a move, that's something that, they're very supportive here. If you really like, you like requirements, that's something that you could be moved into a BA role. So they are really supportive of that, and they like to be able to do that as well. And also too, we did have a lot of happy hours, when we were in offices. They've done a really good job remote to still make you feel like a team. So there's virtual happy hours, there's fitness competitions. They have a lot of different things that are engaging. We had, weekly meditation meetings if you wanted to do that. So I think they still do a really nice job of keeping you engaged, even though, you're not necessarily in an office.
I think the fact that you've been there 7 years kind of says it all, especially in the tech space, because we all understand and know that tech, you make more money by going different places. Right. That's kind of in the past. You stay just long enough to get enough experience to get more money at the next place, and nobody stays 7 years, but they do when they love where they're at and they're taken care of, and there's space for growth. So is that in a nutshell? Is that our R2I?
Yeah.
Do you feel like they take care of you, they care about? I talk about all the time on different shows and stuff about, if you love your employees, that's how you get good customer service. That's how you get good production, is by actually caring about them. And if they know that, they'll stick with you and won't just chase the money.
For sure. And I think, good examples of room for growth too. We were talking cross, but even, going vertically, I was promoted twice since being here into 2 new roles that they never had. Joaquin's is a brand new role that we've never had. So it's showing, not only can you go horizontally in career pathing, but also vertically too. So I think they're understanding that as well. And you don't have to be a manager, right? And that's the nice thing with analytics too. You can be an individual contributor, or you can be part of a team. You don't necessarily need to be within management. I think that there's a lot of flexibility in what you can do.
That's powerful.
No, it is. And especially from an agency standpoint. Because you think of, the bigger places. You think of like Digitas or companies like that, and it almost seems like you're almost a number, but with R2I, it seems like you are invested into the company just as much because they care about you, so you're going to contribute even more.
And we've talked about, again, this is the new IT. In the future, we're going to pick and choose that because money isn't once you reach we all know once you reach a certain level of money, then it doesn't have that much more of motivation. So a good workforce.
Did you replace that level of money with age? Is that what you're trying to avoid saying age? Once we reach a certain age, we're like, comfortability's better.
Yeah, maybe so. But I do believe the future is companies are going to have to wake up. They're going to have to wake up and actually care. Even the big ones, even the big giant companies, billion-dollar companies are going to have to pay attention to doing things that show that they care about the people that are making that company what it is. Do you guys feel that way? Is that the future, or is it? I mean, I think steadily we've seen you have to care more and more and more for it to work. Or do you guys disagree? I'm curious at what you think about that. To kind of end the show, we're just about done.
No, qualitatively, qualitative data and, my experiences, and I could definitely analyze data on that, to prove your point. But
I was actually going to say, did you want to go that route? But yeah.
Right, not based off of emotion, but actual data, we certainly have that data to back that, especially generationally, right? There is a shift there of wanting to not be a number, to feeling like they're cared about and that they're truly making a difference and that other things matter to them and it's not just, one motivation as well.
Awesome. Well, cool. This has been, I've been enlightened.
Absolutely.
I always learn something when we have great experts on the show. That makes a big difference.
World of difference.
Any last words? Can you guys anything to wrap up? Any last golden nugget that you could give to folks out there, or even companies that are wanting to attract folks? Any last words you guys can give us?
I think from my standpoint, I think a lot of the when you're looking for talent, everybody's just throwing everything on there that they might want, and so the list gets so long, and so you don't have. People come in and people are applying with like 30%, but I think starting to structure those requirements to what is really important. Okay, sure, these are nice to haves, but getting that list down. And I think
you want this magical unicorn.
Stick it. Yeah, that's what everybody's looking for.
How about you? I used to tell sales guys when they go, man, this will do 400 things. It does this, it does this. And I'm like, you know what? I needed to do 3. And I needed to do those 3 all the time really good. I could care less about the other 398 or 97.
It's the HGTV effect, though, right? If you watch HGTV, what does someone on a budget of X wants 20 things, and that's not existent in a neighborhood, in a house, and I think that we're seeing that HGTV effect come into play. And sometimes you have to learn the hard way that you can't get everything that you want. And
do you think in the future they'll get it? We'll start learning from that and honing down, or do you think this is kind of a, I just want the magical, let's just let's put a little bit of that. It's like they're making some kind of chili out of every kind of thing they could possibly think of to put in it.
I know. It'll be interesting. I'll need the data to tell you.
Yeah.
I love it.
And,
exactly.
It's fun. And just stop saying, I just need an analytics person. Well,
you're right.
What? We need more analytics people. Okay.
Right.
To do what?
Oh my gosh.
So that's,
I think that is the biggest gold nugget of the day right there. What are you really looking for?
Yes.
What are you really needing? Oh, that's good stuff. Cool.
And that's,
go ahead.
I agree. And that's really like the whole premise of analytics, right? You're always tracking back to what's the business question that you're trying to answer. So,
because if you're looking at the wrong data, it does you zero good.
Right. Yep.
Awesome. Brad, any last words, man? I've been hogging the thing. I've been enjoying.
You're totally fine. Every question I had, you're right there. So, I love it. This is very insightful for me and just understanding too. As a recruiter, I often always see that, I often have clients that have this long wish list, but it's good to know that we are making progress and making sure that is not the case.
That they know what they want.
Yeah, I mean, they're being more realistic.
Yeah, that's just huge. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for being willing to be on the show. This has been great, and we will catch you next time for the new IT. We'll see you later.